fact that it isn't a product itself that's sustainable, and it is actually human interaction with something that will create its sustainability factor over its lifetime. And when we're working in fashion, we're thinking very much about the interaction between a piece and a person. And now the product design, you have to think very differently, because you don't have that same kind of human connection. There's such an intricate connection, not only with our skin next to the piece, but also the emotional connection we have to our clothes and to fashion, and how we then perceive that piece, and how we use it, how we wash it, how we care for it, what happens to it in its second, third life, how long we keep it, who we give it to. All of those things are going to actually make up, ultimately, whether a piece is sustainable or not. And that does mean that you've got lots of different sorts of materials that are used. Materials are used as a factor in sustainability a lot, and they are very important. But certainly, particularly in fashion, it's not only the material itself, it's how it's used and how we interact with it. So I think that's important for me to say. And also for me to remind you is why, as designers, we've got a really critical role to play. Also, I think another reason why we've talked a little bit about impacts and how fashion has an impact. It may not be as huge as some other areas, but it has a huge impact on how people feel. It has a huge impact on culture, and as designers, we both shape and respond to culture. So we've been talking about the importance of being relevant and doing things in a better way. But certainly, as designers, we really can actually start to shape how people feel, not only about fashion, but about other aspects of their lives. And as people, we also love to socialise. We actually want to connect with each other. And we're going to come on in a minute thinking about those sort of the factors behind what we design and what really is desirability. But as people, there's very few people who choose to live as hermits up mountains all by themselves. Fashion actually helps us to interact with each other, to have a sense of belonging, have a sense of being part of a society and culture. And we are visual creatures. As human beings, we see things first before we read them or before we hear more about them through our other senses. And the visual aspect of fashion is so, so important and powerful. And again, I'll come back to it with thinking about sustainable design. Ultimately, unless something is attractive to the eye, unless something is a beauty to behold, and different people are going to look at beauty in different ways, and unless it's got that factor, we are wasting our time. So, and again, that means that as fashion designers, we have got a really, really interesting position in all of this. And also, we've got that and the importance of fashion, and at the same time, we've talked about the fact that at the moment, fashion has been hijacked by this idea that it's all about price and it's all about being able to have novelty. And a statistic that I end up using quite a lot because I still find it really hard to believe as a designer and as somebody who's spent hours painstakingly fitting different pieces, is that in this country, the average woman buys £10,000 worth of clothes in her lifetime that she'll never wear. She buys them, and she buys them because of the price tag, and they'll sit in her wardrobe. She'll end up chucking them or giving them to charity or whatever. And it's, for me as a designer, it's kind of how fulfilling can that be if you're designing something, making something, and you don't actually even get it out of the bag after you've got it home. So I think that is quite an important facet when we're thinking about what really we want from our fashion.